पापत्यापनिकिंतनं तनुभितां गोविन्दगानामृतं आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं कनिपुनं कैवल्यनिस्वार्थं वन्दे रूपसनातनं रघुजुगं श्रीजीव गोपालकं कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं प्रेमामृतां वनिधि तत्त्वातो नमसे समण्डलपति शनिं सदा तुच्छम भूत्वा दीनगणेशकरुकरुणया कोऽपि न कण्ठाश्रितौ तत्त्वातो नमसे समण्डलपति शनिं सदा तुच्छव भूत्वा दीनगणेशकरुकरुणया कोऽपि न कण्ठाश्रितौ गोपी भावरसामृताभिलहरी कल्लोलमग्नोन्मुहो वन्दे रूपसनातन रघुजुगं श्रीजीव गोपालकौ कृष्ण कीर्तन कानन तन परं प्रेमामृतां वनिधि कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं प्रेमामृतां वनिधि कुजत कोकिलहंस सारसगणकीर्णमयूराकुले नानारत्ननिबद्धमूलविटप श्रीयुक्तवृन्दावने राधाकृष्णमहर्निशं प्रभजतौ जीवार्थदौ जौबुधा वन्दे रूपसनातनं रघुजुगं श्रीजीव गोपालकं कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं प्रेमामृतां वनिधि धीराधीर जनप्रियं प्रियकरं निर्मत्सरं पूजितं शङ्खापूर्वकनामगाननतिभिः कालावसानिकृतं निद्राहारविहारकादिविदितं चत्तन्तौ दीनौ च जं शङ्खापूर्वकनामगाननतिभिः कालावसानिकृतं निद्राहारविहारकादिविदितं चत्तन्तौ दीनौ च जं गोपी भावरसामृता बिलहरी कल्लोलमग्नोन्मुहो वन्दे रूपसनातन रघुजुगं श्रीजीव गोपालकं कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं प्रेमामृतां वनिधि कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome from Yotepec, Mexico, where I'm currently visiting, to our Saturday morning Bhagavad Gita as it is reading and discussion with the Prabhupada Disciples group. And we started this group about 2.5 years ago. And Yashodanandana Prabhu, our senior devotee in this organization or association, began this in 2002. So this has been in operation for some years. And we want to thank all of you for joining us in this effort to preserve Prabhupada's legacy. In his Vani incarnation, we're very much, as you know, stressing this principle, and it's something we practice. We don't just preach it, we practice it, all of us. And in this way, we taste the nectar of transcendental knowledge directly from the bona fide spiritual master in disciplic succession from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this principle is very important. Actually, it's the most important principle in our philosophy. There's nothing more important. And somehow or other, recently, we've had people attending our classes, questioning us on what is the best group. That, is this the best group? Is that the best group? Should I be a part of this? Should I be a part of that? This is not, Vijaya Pandit, a competition with other groups. No. We're a non-sectarian group. We're not here to prove anything. We're here to practice this philosophy in association with other God brothers. And fortunately, some of us have had personal association with Srila Prabhupada, and we're trained personally by him. There's a big difference. You can read all the books you want. That will help. But at the same time, we're blessed with association of Prabhupada disciples who had his Vapu presence and Vani presence. Some people may not like that. Well, that's because they're neophyte. They don't get the idea. They have no training. They never lived in an ashram, but yet they think they know. Yes, maybe you do. Maybe you're blessed. No one can judge that. But at the same time, you can judge people by how they speak. The speaking reveals the mind of a person. Also, their face can be very revealing. Physiognomy. You just look at them and you can see. Now, I got a video sent to me from Yashodanandana Prabhu this morning, and we've had these people on our program, and they've been asking, well, what is the best group? Well, what is the group that represents Prabhupada's in his mission? That's what the determining factor is. This is not a contest. We want to unify with everyone under the banner of Prabhupada's Vani incarnation, hearing together Prabhupada's teachings. And someone was asking us that question at the program last day, but he wasn't listening. How can you learn if you don't listen? You think you know. We're presenting the Vani incarnation in our classes. We're not making concoctions, Nila Shama. We don't concoct philosophy. Everything is based on Shastra and personal experience. Yashoda and myself and other people are sending this appreciation to us. Personal association with Prabhupada, who gave us instruction. This is how you should act. So it's not a contest. We want to unify everyone under the banner of the Vani incarnation, and that is our goal during the week. Everyone here to study the books, to chant your rounds, to offer your food to Srila Prabhupada and distribute it to others. Please do that. And to participate in some practical service. And you should call us if you want to be a part of our work. We have a large list of things we're doing. Yes, we are. From book distribution to book publishing to writing to producing programs. Right now I'm working with a channel with 80 million subscribers to get our show on a global broadcast. And therefore we have to be very careful how we conduct ourselves in this program. We have a lot of experience in this. Absolutely. Now someone could say, well, how can you claim that? Well, we're not going over the resume, but we're doing it. Be careful how you conduct yourself. We present the Vani incarnation in our classes, and you have to do is attend, and you will hear it for yourself. The proof of the pudding is in the hearing, not in us trying to convince people. That's not our business. We're not here for that reason. We're here to participate in this great opportunity of association with like-minded devotees. Not people that are going to challenge us. Well, what is the best group or what isn't the bad? I just saw this video that Yashoda sent me. This Prabhu from this group somewhere in the Far East, he's talking and explaining what is the system of Ritvik, like some authority. He has no clue, Neil Shama, not a clue. And he's talking away with the Brahmin's thread and the tilak and all the external paraphernalia, but concocting the philosophy. Oh, it should be like this and the GBC and we'll make it like that. Spiritual realization is based on your personal advancement. What is the qualification of a Ritvik? Ritvik is a system. It's not a person. It's a they say Ritvik Guru, but that is it's not a position. Siksha Guru is a position, not Ritvik. Initiation is from the heart. Like a lot of times people approach us, we want to be initiated. Well, do you follow the regulated principles? Do you chant your rounds? Do you study the books? Do you want to be a part of a mission to protect Prabhupada's legacy? Well, I can do some of it, but not all. Okay, well then you simply follow. That's okay, because it's progressive. And then somehow or other within the heart, some of us may have a desire to actually take up the mission, Michael. And when they take up the mission, that is initiation, their commitment, not ours. We have a Brahminical council that reviews people. Yes, we do, Neela Shama. And we're making it rigid. When you want to come, you have to follow the system that Prabhupada gave us. We're not concocting this. No. If you think we're concocting it, guess what? Go somewhere else. That's as simple as it is. Because birds of the same feather, Ruchisha, flock together. Those people that have the same common understanding of this philosophy will want to be a part of this sadhana program. It's not an organization based on temples and budgets and administration of people. This is a group that has come together to hear the philosophy of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and Chaitanya Charitamrita from the unadulterated, unedited, and unchanged books of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, from the group of the Vaishnavas here who are committed to his Vani incarnation. It's simple. Look, I've been around a lot of people. Remember, I was in Toronto, Prabhus. I had thousands of Indian people coming to the temple. I spoke to thousands of them over my career. Yes, I had a board of 25, Nilesh Sharma, in the director of the chief doctor of Women's College Hospital was on our board. We had mortgage crises. We raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. We distributed millions of plates of prasadam. We have experience in dealing with all kinds of people. Yes, we do. And it's a celebration when we come together to simply glorify Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation. People who are serious, we welcome them to our program and to this group. And if they have any questions, they're more than welcome to come forward and ask the philosophical questions in regard to this philosophy. Politics, no, forget it. Don't bring it up. We might bring up some issue, but we're no longer referring to groups. We're referring to the principles that we're expounding for other people to understand the difference between this and that. Intelligence is the discriminating factor. You have to have intelligence. Intelligence is very important, the ability to discriminate. And one also should be humble and follow in the footsteps of Aprakrita and Jayananda and all the other great devotees that have been a part of this mission in time without any personal ambition, profit, or glorification. Yeah. So I want to carry on with our reading from, because Gopal here is passing, may pass from this world soon. And very interesting opportunity for myself and all of us to experience someone at this critical point in time. It's an interesting experience, especially for myself, of course, because I'm here, on seeing how the mind works. It's not intellectual. This is experience, firsthand experience of death in front of your eyes and how to focus the mind. So Prabhupada, and it's interesting, I got this book, Easy Journey. I brought it on the plane and I started reading it. It was just so timely to read this. And again, I'm stressing to all of us, this is a book for more people. I mean, other people may accept it. I gave this to one of the vendors, a shopkeeper here in Mexico, the last time I was here, and he looked at it. When I went back to pick up some products from his store, he said, I'm not interested in the easy journey to other planets. I'm more concerned about the Bible. And then now I'm reading it, I'm seeing, yes, it was hard for him to grasp this advanced explanation of the philosophy from Srila Prabhupada for people. But for people like all of us, it is a very valuable book of direction. If you could go to it, please, Rupa Goswami in Mumbai. We're going to carry on with the reading. We read all these sections that Prabhupada was giving us. There are the first stepping stones towards the path of devotional service. Gradually, one has to adopt other items. Yeah. Let me see. He must observe. Okay. Go back up. No, go back up to 10. Look at it, it's very interesting. Nilesh? I'm reading this from this version. I'm not sure what version it is. But, oh, okay, we're fine. I'm just not sure if it's correct. The above are the first stepping stones towards the path of devotional service, and gradually one has to adopt other items negatively, like one should avoid. Now it has been edited. This book here is different than the one we're reading on the screen. I don't know which one is bona fide. Go ahead, please. You were going to say?
Prabhuji, you can see the first page of the book and it gives you the details where it is printed and when it was printed.
I've looked at that, but it's obviously an edited version. So we're going to have to find, this is, again, in real time, we're seeing lots of changes, okay? Not one word, thousands of words. But we'll deal with it. Everybody gets the essence here. We're okay. One should avoid offenses in the discharge of devotional service and in chanting the holy names. 12, one should avoid extensive association with non-devotees. Very important, Prabhus. Oh, look, see? Association with them in close intimacy. So the words are changed here. He must not take on unlimited disciples. He must not create unlimited disciples. Just see here, everyone. This means that a candidate who has successfully followed the first 12 items also can become a spiritual master himself, just as a student becomes a monitor in class with a limited number of disciples. So we know many of the people that we know in the ISKCON group have definitely avoided this direction by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 14, he must not pose himself as a vastly learned man simply by quoting statements in books. Yes, we must practice devotional service, and other people will see it in us, our sincerity of purpose, and they'll be attracted. He must have solid knowledge of the necessary books without superfluous knowledge in others. So we concentrate on the main scriptures that Prabhupada translated for us and no others. Right? Why? Because it just creates confusion. And Prabhupada told me that personally. Do not buy the books of my godbrothers. A regular and successful practice of the above 14 items will enable the candidate to maintain mental equilibrium even amongst great trials of material loss and gain. 16, in the next stage, the candidate does not become afflicted by lamentation and illusion. 17, he does not deride another's mode of religion or worship, nor does he deride the personality of Godhead or his devotees. I just want to comment. Recently, I've been sharing with Yashodanandana Prabhu, this Muslim MMA artist online. Very interesting fellow from Dagestan. And I really have a lot of respect for him because he's following his belief system very seriously. And he does say, during Ramadan, I won't fight. I won't fight. And even though he's a champion, he could make millions, he won't fight. And he says very clearly to all his disciples, the most important thing in life is worship to Allah. So here, the most important thing for us is the worship of Krishna and the worship of Guru. So even the Muslim man, even though he's not a devotee, he is still of Krishna, he is still a devotee of God, and he's following strictly. And we give him wonderful respect. He lives simply. I won't go through it too much. He never tolerates blasphemy against the Lord and his devotees. Now I wonder why we get angry, because this blasphemy, is going on amongst Prabhupada's disciples is intolerable for us. So he should not indulge in the discussions of topics dealing with relationships between man and woman, and nor should he engage in useless topics concerning other family affairs. 20, he should not inflict pain, either in body or mind, upon other living beings, whosoever they may be. Out of the 20 items, the first 3 positive items are imperative, and we'll read them next time, and most essential for the serious candidate. There are, I'm looking at the time here, there are 44 other items to be followed. 44 items to be followed by the serious candidate. But Lord Chaitanya has selected 5 as the most important. These were selected owing to the present conditions of civic life. They are as follows. And I apologize, Yashoda. I'm going to just read these 5 sections. I don't want to interrupt your opportunity to speak to us from Shastra. But here, I'm going to just read these with your permission. One should associate with the devotees. Association with devotees is made possible by hearing them attentively, like Shripati and how you listen to him. By asking them relevant questions, yes. By supplying them food, give in charity. And by accepting food from them and giving them charity, and by accepting from them whatever they offer. 2, one should chant the holy name of the Lord in all circumstances. The chanting of the Lord's name is an easy and inexpensive process for realization. One can chant any of the innumerable names of the Lord at any time. One should try to avoid offenses. There are 10 offenses which one can commit while chanting the transcendental names, and these should be avoided as far as possible. But in any event, one should try to chant the holy names of the Lord all of the time, especially if you're going to leave your body. Chant all the time. One should hear the transcendental topics enunciated in Srimad Bhagavatam. This hearing is made possible through platform lectures by bona fide devotees and by authorized translations of the Bhagavatam. One should make his home at Mathura, the birthplace of Lord Krishna, or one may make his home as good as Mathura, your house, like all of you are doing. It's so beautiful. By installing the deity of the Lord to be worshipped by all members of the family, and after proper initiation from the spiritual master. So there's a qualification here. Don't just simply take up this worship of the deity without getting proper instruction from Srila Prabhupada and his bona fide representatives. 5, one should worship the installed deity with attention and devotion so that the whole atmosphere of one's home becomes the replica of the Lord's abode. This is made possible by the direction of the spiritual master who knows the transcendental art and can show the candidate the proper method. The above 5 items can be adopted by any man in any part of the world, and we're all over the world, all of us. Thus, anyone can prepare himself returning home back to Godhead by the simple method recognized by authorities such as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who specifically invented himself to deliver the fallen souls of the age. Very interesting literature from Srila Prabhupada. And we'll move forward with our program and have this opening bhajan by Srila Prabhupada, and then the class reading and discussion with Yashodanandana Prabhu back in California. Thank you for safely making it back. I know he works very hard to do everything for helping all of us. And we want to especially say a prayer for Gopal Das here in Yotapek, that he stays fixed in Krishna Katha in these difficult times nearing or approaching his departure. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat Tato jayam udirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of God Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It should be mentioned right away that this reading and discussion is based upon the original 1972 non-adulterated version, the Macmillan edition, which was approved by Srila Prabhupada. And all the synonyms, purports, and translations are from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As Srila Prabhupada used to do every day in 1966 in February, when he started to lecture on Bhagavad Gita, he introduced a selected few verses in Sanskrit. These are in the introduction on page number 1. We will recite those as given by His Divine Grace. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaguna Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scham He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaham Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We will proceed with our verse. We are reading from chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita as it is, text number 20. Ram Raghava, Rupa Goswami, please display the verse. Ye tu dharmya mritamidam yatoktam paryupasati sraddadana matparama bhaktaste tiva me priya. Ye one who, two but, dharmya generosity, amritam understanding, idam this, yata as, uktam said, paryupasati completely engages, shraddadhana with faith, matparama taking the Supreme Lord as everything, bhakta devotees, te such persons, ativa very very, me priyaha dear. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. He who follows this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engages himself with faith, making me the supreme goal, is very, very dear to me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this chapter, the religion of eternal engagement, the explanation of the process of transcendental service for approaching the Supreme Lord is given. This process is very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person who is engaged in such a process. The question who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman, or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization, for the attainment of the supreme personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the supreme absolute truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self-realization. In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with a pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, one works without fruitive result, meditates and cultivates knowledge to understand spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness, in pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step-by-step improvements in spiritual realization. Devotional service, as described in the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of devotional service. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmiritam Yena Tasmai Shugurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shodnyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhaktisiddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasme Shurave Namaham Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yachi Punah Punaham Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Durishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Sat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So it is very important to understand how Srila Prabhupada is constantly and repeatedly emphasizing the importance of pure devotional service. This is found throughout all of Prabhupada's teachings, throughout his writings, and by his personal examples during his manifested presence. Because we know, especially in the Western countries, there has been many teachers who have come to teach this hatha yoga, gymnastic yoga. But very few of them seem to understand the actual proper process of this kind of yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita itself, it is described that one has to observe complete celibacy, live completely aloof from any material entanglement. It involves living a very austere life, but in this age, who can practically do that? Prabhupada mentions in the Bhagavad Gita purport that this kind of yoga in this age is most impractical. But we see that the process of Bhakti Yoga introduced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the easiest and the most practical and gives the highest level of understanding and spiritual realization. Here's an interesting verse from chapter 8. Yadaksharam vedavido vadanti vishanti yadyatayo vitaragaha yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena pravakshe. Persons learned in the Vedas who utter Omkar and who are great sages in the renounced order enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Now, this is very important because we see in the Bhagavad Gita, in every verse, every line, every word, there is deep meaning. And one should not be misled by the propaganda of charlatans, posers, mystics, so-called yogis, so-called swamis. There are so many nonsensical misrepresentations of the original philosophy given in the Bhagavad Gita. And it's important for persons to understand the great importance of receiving the knowledge in bona fide disciplic succession. What do we mean? What we mean is nicely explained by Srila Prabhupada in a verse from Padma Purana that he used to often quote. Sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishpalamataha. That if you receive your mantra or your spiritual instruction outside of the bona fide disciplic succession, it will be nishpala, fruitless, useless. This is very important to understand. Just like when you get rice, you take the rice from the field, you have to separate the husk, the cover of the rice from the rice itself. This is a process. There's a systematic process of doing that. Similarly, in order to make progress in spiritual life, one has to hear from those who are authorized authorities. Now, the difficulty in Kali Yuga is we have so many people declaring themselves authorities. Again, another very timely quote here. It is described in the Padma Purana. It is also said, Sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishpalamataha. There are four sampradayas or disciplic successions, namely the Brahma Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, the Sri Sampradaya, and the Kumara Sampradaya. If one wants to advance in spiritual power, one must receive his mantras from one of these bona fide Sampradayas. Otherwise, he will never be successfully advanced in spiritual life. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 8, Text 42. Now, why is this so important? Prabhupada often used to give the example that accepting a bona fide spiritual master is like putting a letter in the authorized bona fide postal box. We know that the government has an authorized postal box where you can put your letter and it will be delivered at the address that you have given there. But you cannot make your own box. You paint a box blue or red and you can put postal service. It will not go there. Why? Because it is not authorized. Similarly, there is a process. It has nothing to do with institutions. It has nothing to do with corporations. It has nothing to do with corporate resolutions. No. It has to do with the hearing process, the proper submissive process of accepting the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master. Here, another very good instruction. So Prahlad Maharaj said, Tatrahu Guru Shushrusaya. So you have to begin your spiritual, your Krishna consciousness by accepting a bona fide Okay, where is this? Bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession. And your first business will be Guru Shushurusha. Shushurusha means to please the Supreme. This is spiritual master by service, Devaya. In the Bhagavad Gita, also it is said, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. Bhagavad Gita 4:34. If you want to learn that transcendental science, then you have to adopt three processes in the beginning. You have to select one, a bona fide spiritual master. Then you have to surrender. The same surrender process. You have to select such a spiritual master that you can surrender there. If you think, oh, this Swamiji or the spiritual master is less intelligent than me, or less educated than me, or less in so many ways, then you cannot select a spiritual master. You have to select another person where you will find that here is a mind, here's man, where I can surrender. Yes, he's greater than me in so many respects. Therefore, I can surrender. This is called pranipat. So selection of spiritual master means, first of all, you must agree that here is a personality where I can bow my head, yes. Everyone is proud. Why shall he bow down before a person unless he understands that here is a personality who is greater than me? So this is the first condition, pranipat. Pranipat means prakishta rupena nipat. You have to become blank slate. Now, sir, whatever I have learned, I forget. It is now blank slate. Now you write whatever you like. This is the first condition. Pranipatena and sevaya. Sevaya means service. So because the service is wanting, so one has to serve the spiritual master. It is indicated that even if you are the greatest personality, you have to approach and serve the spiritual master just like ordinary menial servant. Menial servant. If the spiritual master says, my dear boy, you just cleanse my shoes, or any, abominable, you'll be ready. This is called sevaya. Pranipatena. Sevaya. Pranipatena, pariprasnena, and sevaya. Pariprasna means that when you cannot understand, you must place, sir, I cannot understand this portion. This is the process. So this is called Shushrusaya. Prahlad Maharaj says, Guru Shushrusaya Bhaktya, and with devotion, with love and faith, not officially. Whoops, hold on. Lost here. No, with faith and devotion. Because it says here, and with devotion, with love and faith, not officially, because I've kept a pep spiritual master, so officially I have to. No. With faith and devotion, in sarva labdar panena cha, the brahmachari system means he should live with the spiritual master and collect fund. Of course, in India, still the system is that they're in the four kinds of social orders, the brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. There are four divisions in the social order. So in this way, Prabhupada explains the process, the bona fide process of spiritual advancement. And this is very important because we see nowadays some persons who think that just by joining a group or a corporation or an institution, that it is guaranteed spiritual process. Not necessarily. One has to be willing to hear. One has to be willing to do some service. One has to surrender. There's an interesting morning walk conversation in 1976 in September in Vrindavan, where Prabhupada was explaining the role of Lord Krishna in spreading his movement. And Prabhupada said, Krishna does not depend upon any temple president of GBC. Thousands of temple president GBC may come and go. Krishna's work will be done. He does not depend upon anybody. Those people who foolishly think, this group or that other group is not bona fide, this group is not bona fide. No, Bona fide representative means to present the teachings exactly as given by the Acharya, not to concoct, not to manufacture interpretations, just to present as it is. That is why in this group, we always repeatedly emphasize unchanged, unadulterated, original. Why? Because this is what Prabhupada expected. This is very important. As we see, for example, on January 7th, 1977 in Bombay, India, Prabhupada gave an instruction in a lecture, from now on, no more sannyas in his society. But some people think they're very clever. They'll say, oh no, but Prabhupada gave sannyas to some other people after that. Yes, Prabhupada can make an exception if he likes. But Prabhupada gave that instruction. Did they follow that instruction? Did they obey that instruction? No. They concocted and manufactured some interpretation in whimsical ways. They manufactured some nonsense. This is an example of how not to follow the Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Similarly, Prabhupada gave so many instructions specifically not to change his books, not to adulterate his teachings. What did they do? Exactly the contrary. So one should not be misled by nonsensical interpretations. There are many people who claim that they're representing Prabhupada. They're representing the disciplic succession. But when we carefully analyze and observe how they behave, how they talk, and what kind of books they're distributing, we can see it's something else. Let me give you an example. Those of you from Indian background, you know, Paramannam. Paramannam means sweet rice. In India, in Chennai, there's a big temple named Parthasarati. And they have a special recipe. They make this Paramannam, this sweet rice, and they put some spices in there. It's like a secret recipe. And it is absolutely wonderful. It is addicting. It is not just sugar. They put some camphor in there, some other spices. It's wonderful. It is offered to the deity of Lord Vishnu. Then it is distributed. This is a special recipe that they have. Now, anybody can think, oh, I'll make my own recipe, my own nonsense idea, but that is not the process. One has to hear, Shushrusaya. This is what we just read in that Bhagavatam purport. One has to submissively hear from the Acharya. And that is why in our group, we are working on getting a book together, the complete guide to self-realization based upon the original, unchanged, pure instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Because right now, there's a lot of confusion in the minds of a lot of people. Because we see some people are saying, oh, this Ritvik group, that Ritvik group, or this other group, or why, who made this group, who made that group, who gave a corporate resolution to authorize this? Why don't you find out who is following Prabhupada, first of all? It doesn't matter which group they belong to. What really matters is who properly follows Prabhupada. First, find this out. Because when we start asking many questions, why people are doing this, why they're doing that, how did this group get started, how did their so-called authority get started, then the discussion comes to a halt very quickly. And we know this from 1978. When we started to ask some questions, why is this being done? Why is that being done? Srila Prabhupada never gave these instructions to do things that way. Oh, all hell broke loose. Then the false ego came up. Oh, we are the authorities. We are the managers. Prabhupada told us that we should manage this movement. No, you don't have to worry about your management. This movement is being managed by the Panchatattva, the 6 Goswamis, the authorities of the pure devotees in a disciplic succession, and the authority of Srila Prabhupada. All we have to do is follow. Mahajana yena gata sapantaha from the Mahabharata. And those who think they've become big authorities, that they want to order people around, that only their group or their understanding is the best, come to this program and we will ask you some questions and let's see the fun. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful explanation of our philosophy from a bona fide follower of Srila Prabhupada, Yashodanandana Prabhu. Hey, Mother Rachisha, do you love the class? Do you love the class? Yes, we do. And I thought there's a couple of points I want to make as we're moving forward in the discussion. I do find the question that Nilesh Sharma posed quite intriguing. And I find the answer from Krishna Katha very accurate as well. Thank you very much. And I wanted to further elaborate because the question was, Prabhu, please explain who is the bona fide representative of Srila Prabhupada. Now, I'd like to correct that if I could, Nilesh Sharma. Who are the bona fide representatives? Not who is the bona fide representative. Who are the bona fide representatives of Srila Prabhupada? And Krishna Katha has given the correct answer. All of us are the representatives of Srila Prabhupada. All of us. Everyone here is the bona fide, as long as we preach the philosophy with no change. And Prabhupada has told us 1,000 times, do not change anything. Simply repeat what you've heard from the authority. This is the system in all systems of learning. You simply repeat from the teacher. And in this way, you become expert. You don't become expert by concoction. You become a student. The more you are a student of this process, the greater you'll become a teacher. So the first step is to become a good student. And I wanted to further elaborate on this based on today's purport, which was very insightful as I was reading it with all of you. It brought me back in time to the 70s when I was in the temple. And here we'll go to the Rupa Goswami Prabhu, our wonderful devotee in Mumbai. Let me go to this section here. I'll start to read it. The question is, who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman or one who's engaged in the personal service of the personality of Godhead? Was raised by Arjuna, and the Lord replied to him so specifically that there's no doubt that devotional service to the personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. And here's the key, Prabhus. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulated principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. Okay, so let's go back and just quickly analyze that and move forward in our discussion. It is decided through good association. Now, when you joined the movement back in the 70s, did you get association with Prabhupada in the temple? Well, if you were lucky, you might have been there, but otherwise, Dharma Bhavana, you were with other people that were already committed. Yes, weren't you? You met them. They were committed. And they were completely surrendered to Srila Prabhupada's mission. And what happened? They began to instruct you. Oh, Prabhu, this is how you take a shower. This is how you brush your teeth. This is how you pass stool. This is how you cook in the kitchen. This is how you perform kirtan. Who was teaching you? Let's draw on the example of Sripati Prabhu, who myself and Yashodanandana both worked with, served under, let's say, absolutely. And Sripati would always give us instruction. Oh, Prabhupada, he is the via transparent medium of Krishna. He is in the bona fide, and we'd listen. Oh, really? Yes, Prabhu. Oh, okay. Here, you have to go on Sankirtan. You have to go, follow me, I'll take you out. Like that. Through association with good devotees, we all became inspired to want to get initiation. It didn't happen automatically. All of a sudden you walk, oh, I think I want to get initiated. Initiation was inspired by association of other devotees who were already initiated. I can remember back in 1971, I got my first initiation in Detroit from Srila Prabhupada. Now, at the time, what happened was Rochan and his wife and Uttama Shloka and his wife, even though we joined at the same time, because of a shortage of deity worship, of pujaris, guess what happened, Dharma Bhavana? We go to the initiation, and my godbrother, Uttama Shloka, got first and second initiation at the same time. Oh my God. Now that was a real shock to me, I thought, because, we were friends. We were serving. I was also doing a good job as the janitor at the temple, cleaning the bathrooms and cutting up the boga. And I thought, oh, I should also be second initiation. And I didn't get it because I had only been in the temple for 6 months. Oh, that bugged me. That drove me for a whole year to try to be exemplary in my service. Let's put it. And then in August or July of 72, I drove down in a van with about 12 of us in a hot van, an old Dodge van with steel walls, no place to sit. You just sort of, tried to fit in those boxes. No windows, 12-hour drive. And we got to New York, and there's a whole other story I'll tell some other time of what happened when I was there and how the initiation for myself was being delayed by Bali Mardan, who blooped eventually and ate chicken. But he got involved in the whole thing. And then Jagadish stepped up because I had been anxiously eager to get this initiation. I tried so hard that year to follow everything and be submissive to the temple president at the time and go out and work hard on Sankirtan and blah, blah, blah. And then somehow or other, I was the last person after so many people at that day that got called in to get the initiation from Prabhupada personally. And he spoke the Gayatri mantra in my ear. That's a whole other story I could relate some other time. But the point is this, that we get the association of devotees, good association of those that are already serving, that are already setting example, like Jayananda Prabhu, like Aprakrita Prabhu. Their commitment inspires us to be committed to Prabhupada. And finally, I'm seeing quite a bit of promotion on him online by one of my godbrothers who is soliciting for disciples. Yes. He doesn't mention Prabhupada, oh, you should become a disciple. Quite contrary to the way it was in the early days, Dharma Bhavana. Quite contrary. He's promoting himself. Oh, come and be my disciple. I'm going to listen to my class. Just Become my disciple and I'll help you in your spiritual life. How to be a better businessman, or be a better husband, or be a better worker in your job. Like, some of them are very motivational in their manner. They're not quoting Prabhupada. They're not repeating Prabhupada. They're not trying to cultivate people. I asked him. I sent a message to him. How come you're not trying to promote disciples for Srila Prabhupada instead of yourself? Please come to our program. We're not here to fight with you. We're here to discuss the philosophy of how to make Prabhupada disciples, not your disciple. And we read today, and you shouldn't be interested in attracting so many disciples. It's against the rules. So we are all representatives of Srila Prabhupada, and we have an army, actually we have more of a SWAT team here, Forest Temple. So nice picture of you and your wife. We have a SWAT team of people that we are growing gradually. And we're looking for new people, by the way. That's why we're reaching out. This ISKCON people, most of them, and all these other groups, they're so, as Yashodanandana talked about seed, the seed that's in them is so contaminated. It is very difficult for people of Krishna conscious understanding to help them. They don't want to listen. They don't care. They only care for whatever they're going to do. And the material world is an entanglement, especially when you get married and you have kids. Super entanglement. You have to work towards gradually detaching yourself from that. For example, Prabhupada said, when you're a grihasta, there's a 50% chance of going back to Godhead in this lifetime. Oh yeah. Why? Because you're so entangled. There's so many responsibilities. And you have to work hard, make money, set up a house, pay the bills, take care of your wife, or your wife take care of the husband, cultivate attachment, and on it goes. So much complication. And I speak from experience, okay? Fair enough. I'm not talking philosophy. So there are so many difficulties, but with good association, Dharma Bhavana, with determination, with focus, with sacrifice, personal motivation, each individual person in this group will become part of this SWAT team to protect Prabhupada's legacy. And those followers are the bona fide representatives of Lord Chaitanya. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please.
Well, I think it's important to understand one point. And we do know from the example of Christianity that Prabhupada several times would criticize Christianity, not over the fact that they worship Jesus, but that the original instruction had been changed over the years. It is no secret that the papal succession of one particular church had experienced problem in the Middle Ages. And then there were so many different subsequent reform groups, Protestant groups. But the difficulty is you have all these different interpretations by all these different groups, which resulted in fragmentation of the original teaching. And Prabhupada was concerned about that. In 1977, I was in a room with Srila Prabhupada, basically, and Prabhupada said, please do not turn my institution like the Catholic Church or the Gaudiya Math. And what did they do after he departed? Exactly what he told them not to do. I was referring to that conversation in 1976. I was trying to find it for a little bit, where Srila Prabhupada in September of 1976 was explaining that Krishna's work will be done. He does not depend upon anybody. He's giving a chance to everybody to do some service, to do some assisting in the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to present Krishna consciousness according to Prabhupada's instruction. But it doesn't depend upon a managerial body or some corporate arrangement. There's a certain degree of illusion. Like regularly we get these questions. Oh, who authorized so-and-so to give Ritvik initiation? Who did this and who did that? What about this group, that group? First of all, let people who are speaking these things, they should be concerned of how they follow, how they chant, how they read Prabhupada's books, and which books are they reading. Then how are they preaching? Because there's sometimes a certain obsession with some corporate arrangement, thinking that only this group with this specific corporate arrangement can preach Krishna consciousness. No, that is not what Prabhupada taught. Prabhupada wanted a certain structured environment, but when it deviates and changes the teachings and changes the books and abuses the devotees and kicks devotees out of the temple and neglects the children and exploits the women, then it's something else. That is why people should become educated in Prabhupada's teachings, in the philosophy that he has given. So when some nonsense proposition, some bogus idea is presented by people who claim to be authorities, it will be easily exposed. Prabhupada has given all instructions. You know, there is a conversation with Srila Prabhupada when Prabhupada told the devotees, please do not make these temples into pandemonium. And devotees said, what is pandemonium? A place of demon. Don't make the temples like that. Another place, Prabhupada, make it a honey society. Don't make it the stool society. It is there. Find it. You can actually find these conversations. So all instruction has been given. There's no need to be in some illusion or some fanatical so-called understanding. Simply, we have to use our intelligence and carefully study these teachings. Then it will be no difficulty to understand, no difficulty to practice. That's all we have to say for now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting.
Prabhuji, I
points.
got the conversation which you were talking about.
Okay, we'll get that. We'll get you to read it. I wanted to Krishna Kata further to he's made a few comments here on the chat here, and I thought maybe he could further his understanding with our group on today's program. Krishna Kata. I'm so excited, Krishna Kata, because we're getting some good news on the Srimad Bhagavatam Delhi versions. Maybe you could share a few words.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Jai Prabhus, thank you so much again for such a wonderful dedication to this format. So my takeaway from today's verse, with full understanding that we are here because we choose, and we have chosen the very best possible, at least that we know of currently here available to us in this universe, of righteous, bona fide association of the followers and practices of Prabhupada's original instructions. So that's a mouthful. You could unpack that. A lot of discussions could come just from that sentence, but it reminds me of, okay, so my early days were not the 60s or the 70s. I came in late in 1978. So a lot of people would say, well, you're not a bona fide disciple of Srila Prabhupada because Prabhupada had already left his manifested presence. Well, we already know that's nonsense. And
Yes.
Yes, based on all of his instructions, it's clear. So
Mhm.
someone that doesn't want to see that
Mhm.
is choosing to not see that. So that's where the fine line or razor's edge of bhakti yoga uh, is available or not available. It really is that humility that I am not better, I don't know more than anybody. That whole lower than straw in the street is such a perfect example,
Mhm.
Lord Chaitanya. So it reminds me of that phrase, and I don't remember the whole phrase, so I hopefully, Vishwa, you can speak to it. But I remember books are the basis, purity is the force, and I know that there was one more. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but it reminds me that that is really the focus of this format. The format is perfect because anyone that tunes in to what we're up to on YouTube
Yeah.
any day, they are
Mhm.
seeing the format that Prabhupada authorized, right? Going through the verses word by word, going through the purports, and then speaking to the purport and basically repeating what the spiritual master has said. What Prabhupada used to say about what makes him qualified? Because he would say, I am simply repeating the words of my spiritual master. Sukha,
Exactly.
sukha. So that's the simple part,
Mhm.
right? That's the simplicity. But the false ego gets in the way, and the people that make that complicated are just not seeing the easy part. They're making it uneasy, right? If you just simply repeat the words of the spiritual master, which is what we're doing with this printing of the Bhagavatams, which, like you mentioned, is such a glorious service. I cannot tell you every day when I think about the progress, how slow or how fast or how good news or not, or some weird news. We've all been through this roller coaster ride here now for, gosh, I don't know how many, 8, 9 months. But the point, though, is Krishna's allowing us to be a part. All of us that have donated $1 or have been more directly involved with the details and the nuances of this roller coaster ride, we are all given this mercy to serve the instructions of Srila Prabhupada that pleased him the most. And isn't that just what you were thinking, Vishwakarma, when you didn't get that first initiation? You hunkered down, you focused, and you took on how you were going to be qualified for Brahmin initiation. Second, that is the sincerity that is oozing and coming out every time you tune into these classes. So in the beginning, there was a chat question from Neela Sharma that said, well, who is the bona fide spiritual representative of Srila Prabhupada? Well, we all are. That's the that's the beginning definition of a bona fide representative, is that you are practicing, following, and propagating the original instructions of Srila Prabhupada. If you're doing that, just like we said how simple or simplistic that is, in other words, don't concoct. Don't think you know better. Don't add even one word. What did Prabhupada say? Don't change one alphabet. How simple is that? How directly crystal clear is that? So, my takeaway from this is there's lots of association out there, but so much of it has been, I don't want to use the word contaminated because that's not fair. Prabhupada's temples are never contaminated. They're always there, perfectly pure and spiritual for all to come. But the followers slash practitioners have concocted, and therefore, when you go to some of these temples, I'm not going to say all of them, you experience a watered down version. And why is that unwanted? That's unwanted because the purpose of a disciple is to maintain and protect the legacy, which are the teachings of his divine grace. That's the point. That's how you are a disciple. But then you see all these bogus mantras and all of this different kind of dress and cleanliness standards, and so many things are just like, even you said, Vishra, how can you say it's even prasad? I mean, it's vegetarian food, But if that original system has been altered, then is Srila Prabhupada accepting that boga and offering it to his spiritual master and all the way up the chain through the parampara to Krishna himself? This is the point, is can you find other programs, other platforms? I'm sure there are, because there's a lot of sincere Prabhupada disciples that don't want to kowtow and bow down to all the nonsense that we see. So yes, I'm sure there is, but I don't know of any. I would love to know of more, because the more the better, honestly. The more the better. Those that are following, propagating, and practicing Srila Prabhupada's instructions are a rare gem these days, a rare needle in a haystack, so to speak. So that's my takeaway from today's verse, is the association of devotees, right? And then seva, some service that you have given us, Prabhus, that we can become a part of. And no part of that seva is better than another. So if some Prabhu who we've never met gave $10, $1, that's as important as those that are in direct communication with the printer. So what? There isn't any. Prabhupada always accepted whatever service, however tiny, because it's the sincerity from our heart that makes Krishna notice us. And that is the point of being a bhakta, is do it in such a way that Krishna notices us. Anyway, that's my takeaway from today's verse. Thank you for letting me speak.
Well, thank you. Very well spoken. And I wanted to read these quotes Neela Sharma put up that Krishna Katha said, just to get the 3 sections. Srila Prabhupada famously said, books are the basis, yes. Utility is the principle.
That's it.
And preaching is the essence. But most importantly, purity is the force.
Jai.
So
thank you, Neela Sharma. Hari.
yeah, this is all good. And I wanted to further elaborate on the point of senior devotee. In this particular situation that we're currently in, I'm so excited to associate with new people. That's just glorious to see somebody like in our particular, I don't want to embarrass our godbrother, Rupa Goswami, but we have a lot of service. And Rupa Goswami knows it. I'm sending him all kinds of instructions all the time. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Compile this, do this editing. Make this poster, make this logo. There's all kinds of work that's involved in, and we have very few people that step up to, either they can't do it, they aren't qualified, or they don't have the time. I'm busy, I got to do this, I got to go to work, I got to make money. I'm busy with my wife, I got to be in the kitchen, I got to eat my lunch. I call people up, oh, so Prabhu, I got to eat my lunch. Oh, okay, so I guess I have to call you back after you eat your lunch. This isn't a company. If it was my company, you'd be fired. So people that take up the service, they may be new devotees, new disciples, but they're the best disciples. They're number one in this book. New does not mean that if you're new and you're serving and you're enthusiastic and you're a senior devotee. Not some guy from 1968 that's bragging he had Prabhupada service and does today nothing to promote or protect Prabhupada's legacy. It's not just about the money. Sure, money we need, but it's land, labor, and capital. We need the concept, we need the people, and we do need the Lakshmi. Some people give a little bit, hardly any. I must say that we've hardly collected any money in our organization. ISKCON has got $1 billion practically in their private bank accounts, and we have nothing. But we're not interested in money. No, we're not. We're interested in service. And Krishna will supply the money. And it's coming. So all these things should be carefully thought about. That real seniority is surrender. It's not anything else. You showed Anandana Prabhu further. If you want to end up, we're getting close to the end here.
Well, I think it's important to understand there seems to be a misconception amongst many devotees who are sincere. I don't question their sincerity, but there's a certain degree of naivete, of simplicity in their approach. Like, who is authorized to give Ritvik initiation? What about this group? What about that group? We're not concerned. This particular approach here that we have, we're not so much concerned about this group, that group. What we are concerned about is those who are serious about following Prabhupada the way that Prabhupada wants to be followed. And we've often mentioned this thing about not changing the books, not adulterating the teachings, not changing the teachings. And this is very important because we have all experienced, those of us born in Western countries where Christianity and Judaism is very prominent, of how that particular religion was watered down with so many different interpretations of the Bible, so many different groups. And now we're seeing a very similar phenomena in the Krishna consciousness movement, with so many people coming up with these corporate ideas, institutional ideas. Yeah, that's nice. Prabhupada wanted an institution, but that institution is no longer following Prabhupada's original teachings. They're no longer following Prabhupada's original instruction. And how many times do we have to repeat how they're doing these kirtans in that society? Where do they get these ideas of these Sahajya manufactured concocted kirtans? It has only been 46 or 47 years since 1977, and already we have seen so many changes, so many deviations, so many departures from Prabhupada's standard. So rather than argue who is authorized to give a Ritvik initiations during Srila Prabhupada time was not a big thing. The temple presidents, sannyasis, leading devotees, GBCs would perform a fire sacrifice, and once it was authorized by Srila Prabhupada. All that Prabhupada did is authorize some senior disciples to continue the ongoing process that Srila Prabhupada had put into motion during his manifested presence. It got totally perverted with this bogus interpretation and nonsense idea. I call it the ISKCON mythology. This myth that Prabhupada appointed us, this bogus, nonsensical, unproven myth. And it's still going on 47 years after 1977. So devotees should focus more on simply following. Make it simple. Chant Hare Krishna, offer the food stuff to Krishna, the way that Prabhupada prescribed, read Prabhupada's original books, try to give Prabhupada's original books, cooperated with like-minded devotees, and avoid the sadhyas and the quasi-criminals that have taken over that institution and all the nonsense that they're propagating, the banning, beating, suing, ostracizing, kicking devotees out. That's out. That's out. That is no longer a viable institution for the future. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Listen, Nilesh Shamya, I know you want to speak. We're going to end the class, but table this for tomorrow. We've got Srimad Bhagavatam class coming at 10 a.m. We're already at 10:41 a.m. I've been asked by our group to try to, be attentive to time, because the class is registered for 1.5 hours, not 2 hours. And we're trying to do that in order to begin our conversion of these programs into MP4 formats for broadcast to 80 million potential subscribers on a global television network, internet television network. So we're working towards that. And we're also going to be changing the format somewhat to review the chapters that we're going to be putting in our book, The Complete Guide to Self-Realization. We're going to go through these chapters and programs upcoming, and in this way have a complementary video production and a written production to give people a complete understanding of how to become a devotee of the Sankirtan movement of Srila Prabhupada without having to fill in the blanks when you don't have all the information available, like we had when we first joined. We had no idea, but we joined. So thank you, everyone. And tomorrow morning, Srimad Bhagavatam class from the unadulterated changed books. And hopefully with Ram Raghava, I can get a proper version of this Easy Journey to Other Planets. I looked at the one today. It's 70, 72, and then 85 Yashoda. Oh my God. So many changes. I just didn't realize it. And believe me, we're not being offensive. We're just doing the needful to get this going. And eventually everything will work out for us because Prabhupada and Krishna are helping us. Believe that. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move forward with 2 minutes and 54 seconds of the Hare Krishna mantra led by Srila Prabhupada, and then we'll have our closing remarks. All glories to all of you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like these are trees, and we're full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this lively discussion, reading and discussion. Vishwakarma Prabhu in Yautepec, Mexico, and Krishna Katha in San Diego, California. Ruchisa Devi Mataji in Montreal, Canada. Vijay Pandit in Oroville, Italy. Das Avatar in Australia. And our good friend Rupa Goswami Prabhu in Mumbai. Ram Raghava in Georgia. Michael Dillon in Yuba City, California. And the one and only Nilesh Sharma Prabhu in Florida. We invite everybody to come back tomorrow morning for Srimad Bhagavatam reading, and we will have the chanting for 2 minutes or so, Srila Prabhupada chanting and everything else. Hare Krishna, all glories to his divine grace and his transcendental teachings. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.